You're sitting on some cash. You want to get into real estate. You think Florida is going to be such an amazing place, this rebirth of Florida, and I agree with you. I don't blame you, but what do you do when you start thinking, I want to be a real estate investor? Do you buy apartments and rent them out? Do you buy a single family home and rent it out? Or do you get into real estate development? Because I've heard that's where the money's at. We're about to find out. So happy to be joined by Chad Newberry, Newberry Realty, but also a big development guy as well. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, thank you.
And you know, anyone could say they're a real estate developer, I guess, but really you have to know what you're doing in some ways. When you have someone approach you and say they want to get into real estate development, what do you tell them?
First, I tell them it's pretty difficult, but it's also incredibly rewarding. So it's really a genuine passion of mine, and I'm so glad I got into it. But there's a lot of moving parts that you need to understand. So it's a very complex field, but it's great.
Yeah, how do you know who to trust in that world?
Yeah, trust is a big one. So it really just takes developing relationships, working with them on small projects, then moving up to bigger projects. And if there's synergy, you feel like you really want to commit to them, and you end up, a lot of our investors just stay with us for a really long time because of that trust.
Yeah, now you've even developed a program where you're training people on real estate development. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I learned life coaching, and I really did it so that I could develop the skills that I needed to get through the struggles that I came across in becoming a real estate developer. And when I would share with people what I do, that I own a real estate company, I own a construction company, and I do it so I can do real estate development, they just start so fascinated by it, and they constantly are like, Chad, I would love to learn what you do. So I took it as an opportunity to create a program and mentor people who want to get into real estate development and do small pocket communities like what I do.
Who would call you? Who would have an interest to call you? Is it someone that's already been into development? Is it someone who's thinking about real estate development?
Yeah, I think it's really three categories that really fall into real estate development. It's either people that are already established in real estate and want to elevate their real estate game, people that have a lot of experience in construction and they want to get into the real estate development game, or if you're an investor and you already are like maybe doing flips, but you want to get into new spec houses, and you want to even elevate that up and start building small communities. Those seem to be the three areas where people really start wanting to engage in real estate development.
I don't think people understand what real estate development means. I don't think I understand what real estate development means. I think big apartment complex, huge office building. It can be a little smaller than that as well, can't it?
Yeah. So our specialty is pocket communities, residential. So building small communities of single-family houses that can be sold. And the process is very complex. I mean, it starts from all the way from finding the land, doing your due diligence, building the pro forma, building a business plan, presenting it to investors, finding the money with banks, then building it and then selling it. So it's a really a long game type profession, I would say, but incredibly rewarding again.
And if you'd like to talk about real estate development, you want to get into that game, this is the man to talk to. The phone number is right here, 407-205-0400. But you don't just talk the talk, you have walked the walk and continue to walk the walk. All these developments you've been involved in that are currently in development too. Tell me about some of the developments you've been involved in.
So some of the real estate developments we built, Ponce Inlet Key out in Ponce Inlet. That was my first real estate development project. It consisted of 5 houses. They were all mansions basically, and but they all sold, and that was like my first real estate development experience. Now what I'm doing is I'm building small communities in the downtown Orlando area, building smaller houses, but equally as fascinating.
On that first deal, the first community in Ponce Inlet, when you went to the closing on that last property, on that last mansion, what were the emotions like for you?
Oh, I was so excited. Yeah. I don't know, it was very fulfilling, and it's great to just stand back and look at this like beautiful community, and you're like, that wouldn't exist if I didn't do it. So it's kind of amazing. I love it. It's great.
What developments do you see for yourself in the future?
I really like building the smaller pocket communities in highly desirable areas. So a lot of infill projects. Big houses, mansions, they're great, but smaller houses, I feel like there's such a demand for housing, and trying to build smaller houses for people so they can get into the housing market is really a sweet spot that I want to target right now.
Got it. Any questions for Chad? 407-205-0400. Is there a particular type of person that ends up becoming a real estate developer? Is it someone that's just been successful in the financial world? Is it someone who is a real estate agent? Is there anyone in particular that really leads itself to being a developer?
You really just have to be ambitious and have a stick-to-itiveness and just really want to do it. I don't know if it's really a special kind of person other than you just really have to be determined, have a stick-to-itiveness, and believe in yourself.
There are a lot of moving parts, I imagine, with developing real estate. What are the most challenging aspects of it? Everything?
Getting through zoning is one of the biggest challenges. I feel like I go through city comments endlessly, but actually I just dropped off milers for 2 of my plats that I'm building in College Park today, so that was very rewarding. So I'll probably have a glass of wine later this afternoon. So getting through zoning is probably the biggest part. Getting through construction, managing the timeline, that's a difficult part. And then hoping like hell that they sell at the price that you're forecasting.
Right. A lot of people who are, again, thinking about getting into real estate development, I think, I imagine if they have some money, they're going to get into it by stroking a check to someone. I mean, that might be the first way in, to be involved in a development. But again, it's scary to just stroke a check to someone maybe you don't know, maybe you don't know if you can trust them or not. What are some of the ways you should research the people you're going to work with?
Well, I guess, okay, so if you're going to be the investor, I guess, I would just do your due diligence and see, because you're going to need a real estate person, you're going to need a construction person, and you're also going to need the person that wants to put the project together. So you're really going to need those 3 components if you're wanting to be an investor. So I would just, I guess network. I guess networking is the best thing. Like just talk to as many people in those industries or those fields and build camaraderie.
That was really good stuff. We have to have you back. I want to talk more about this. We haven't really addressed real estate development much on the show in 6 years. Can you come back, please?
Yes, I'd be
All
happy
right,
to.
Chad Newberry, everyone. 407-205-0400. He is the man to show you how to get into real estate development, which is a wonderful field. It's a great way to make some money, but you have to know what you're doing. He'll tell you. Quick break. When we return, we're going to take some tours of some properties together as You Have Real Estate continues.